I started the company back in 2014. I was pregnant at the time with my daughter. She's now 6. And it was really just out of a need. I made one for myself, and I was looking for a MacBook case at the time, couldn't find one that I was particularly, interested in. So I bought a clear case off of Etsy, not off of Etsy, off of eBay, used glitter and just kind of designed it myself, posted it on Instagram, and the case was born. And then from that, it just kind of spiraled into what it is today, which is a tech accessories brand that we mainly focus on MacBook cases because that's kind of our bread and butter, but sometimes we sneak in other things like sleeves and phone cases and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw that, but we're going to get into that shortly because I want to get into the whole design of it. Now, how you got into doing that?
Designing the case?
Yes.
Yeah, it was just a kind of a fluke. Like I said, I made it one on my own. I'm pretty crafty in general. Like I love to do interior design. I love to make things. And I've always been that way since I was a kid. And so when it came to needing a case, I was like, I don't really like anything out there. I'm just going to make one myself. And so I made one. I posted it on Instagram, and people who were like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Can you please make me one? And of course, for my friends, I'm like, oh yeah, girl, I'll make you one. So I made a few for friends. I had a friend at the time who had 100,000 followers on Instagram in 2014. That was a huge deal.
Right.
That was 5 million then, right? So she posted for me, and it really showed me what the brand could be. And so I was like, oh, this could be a thing. So from that, I decided to kind of take it from there and keep going. So designing just came from my own desire to make things.
Do you think design school played a role in that?
Maybe. I know that I went to design school because of that background, because of just my desire to make things. I didn't necessarily want to be a fashion designer. I wanted to kind of be in the marketing space. And so that's why I got a marketing degree. Actually, my goal at the time was to be a buyer for Saks Fifth or something like that. And that was kind of the career path that I wanted to go. And then I ended up interning at a buying office and was like, this is boring. So I decided that I was going to do something else. But I think, this design is something that I've always had a passion for, and it's cool that I can continue to, support that or kind of stroke that, I guess, in my career now.
Yes, your designs are beautiful. And I'm just going to toggle a little further back to where you were a model and you appeared in many successful commercials. So you've just transitioned from one era to the next. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I went to school. So the school that I went to, FINM, is based in LA. But my mom actually got me into modeling when I was little. She got me into modeling. I did a lot of just small local things. I'm from Arizona originally. I'm actually a military brat, and so we bounced around. But I grew up mostly in Arizona. And I did some things while I was here. And so when I moved to LA for school, I was signed to LA Models and another smaller agency. And I was like, let me, really take this seriously. So I did a lot of extra work, and I was featured in school campaigns. Call of Duty was probably the biggest national one, which was so cool. And then I did a lot of other things too, like the PacSun and Converse, and Volkswagen is one that I've done. And a lot of smaller things too. But that was again something that I started when I was really young and just kept doing.
And you appeared next to Kobe Bryant. Did you meet him? How did that inspire you?
What's funny is literally every single time someone asks me about that commercial, they're like, did you meet Kobe Bryant? That's the first question. And I get it, but unfortunately I did not get to meet him. He shot on a different day. I know. I'm like, I missed my chance. But no, I shot on a different day. So I didn't get to meet him. Or Jimmy Kimmel. He was also in the commercial. I didn't get to meet either of them.
Hey, but you got points. You're all in the same commercial, so it's still cool, right?
Right, exactly. Felt the spirit, it was
right. Your good luck charms. So, when you launched the first MacPad, how long, you said you just brought a few things and pieced some things together, basically. How long did it take you to create it? And then you did everything by hand afterwards?
Yeah, so I made it like with the same day. Like I ordered the case online. It got to me in a few days, and then I went to Michael's and bought just like some, craft materials to make the case.
Mhm.
And after that, I continued to hand make them because that was the only way that I knew how to do it. I had never, even though I went to school for fashion and I actually took a product development class in school, I
Mhm.
never really applied it. And so when the time came, it was very new to me. And so, yeah, for the first year and a half, 2 years, we handmade like the majority
Wow.
of our cases. And when I tell you, it was like everybody that came to our house left with a little piece of glitter somewhere on them. And I'm sure they have like PTSD from
Glitter
coming over during the
PTSD.
time. And my daughter, she was born in December of that year, so she also was always covered in glitter. And like, why does she always have glitter on her? I'm like, oh, don't worry. Yeah, so we handmade those cases. When I say we, like my boyfriend was helping me. I would have friends come over, and I'm like, you glitter, I'm gonna glue. Like we would have a whole little like assembly line going because we had so many orders and everything was handmade and made to order. And I'm like, I have to get these out now. And so we just worked it out.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of cases.
It
um,
was
I'm sorry.
I was saying it was definitely a lot.
Oh God. So if you could put a number on it, when you were getting your orders, how high was that demand?
Oh, it was like 200, 300 orders a month.
Oh
Like
my God.
it was a lot. I mean, we were getting them, yeah, we were hand making that amount every single time. It was crazy. And so from that, I was like, we need to find a solution.
Yeah.
And that started on my journey to find a manufacturer. But that was, again, just completely new territory. And so I was very nervous and dealing with someone that was overseas that I couldn't talk to or meet in person and like feel their energy. I was scared to send that first, wire transfer, but
Right.
it all worked out. Yeah.
Would you say that's your, if you could go back and tell your younger entrepreneurial self anything, that would be the first thing, is to find someone else to help you create this product?
Yeah, because I feel like that's probably the reason why, and I'm sure we'll get into this, why I closed at one point, because everything just became so like, I was spending so much of my time like with my hands on the product, right? I didn't have the bandwidth to do much else, like customer service and all those things. I was doing my best, but it was, some things would take a long time and, but I think, yeah, I would definitely try to find people who do this, um, you know, and yeah, find professionals in their field in general, not just with product development, but even when it came to like accounting and other things, yeah, in the beginning, get those things set up because it just helps you later down the line to have it together.
Would you consider that the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an entrepreneur?
I would, even though it was hard, I would say the good because I learned so much from it.
Hmm. What would you consider the bad?
The bad was probably just I think it was the combination of everything all at once, like the overwhelm, the trying to wear the 50 hats all while being a new mom. And, it wasn't the work itself, it was the sheer amount of work and how I just didn't have the resources or didn't know what to do or how to allocate my time properly. It was just a lot all at once and I just didn't know how to manage it.
So from then until the pandemic, when did you, so you stopped for a short time and then relaunched. What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah, so I stepped back. Actually, we closed 2019 in January. We sold everything. We sold through all of our stock. I closed the doors. I was like, I need a minute to regroup. I wasn't sure if we were going to come back. I just didn't really have any idea. I just knew that I needed to stop for a second.
Mhm.
And so I did that. And I decided, I'm like, is this something that I really want to do? Is entrepreneurship for me? You know, I think a lot about like who I am as a person and how I want to operate in the world. And I'm like, does entrepreneurship serve that? And like, am I wanting something just because it kind of happened for me, but is this really what I want, you know?
Right.
And so in thinking through all of that and the life that I wanted to create for myself, I decided that entrepreneurship is for me, and I just need to figure out how to make it work for me my way. And so I decided to, you know, pick myself back up a little bit and figure it out and keep going. And so I created a new collection. It was the neon collection. Neons were like pretty big, 2019 summer. So we did neon glitter, and we relaunched. And from then we just kind of been we just kept going, and it's still definitely a ride. You know, it's still a lot of work, and I don't think I have even today all of my systems 100% in order, like the way that I would love them to be.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that I've been able to pick myself back up, the fact that, you know, I'm clearer on what the goal is now, makes all the difference.
Okay, I love it. And then the balance with motherhood, how is that?
Yeah, that's hard. That's the good stuff. That's always a challenge. I feel like there's that, you know, that mommy guilt that comes in, and, you know, splitting my time. But again, my daughter was, she was just born while I was kind of like just birthing this company too, right? It's kind of like they were born like twins. um, and at the time, I was a new mom, so I was very, very overwhelmed with that too. But now that I'm a new mom again, because I have another one, he's a baby, he's 8 months now. I understand, what's important and what's not, you know, as a mom and as a business owner. There's so many things to do, right? Like you can have a mile long to-do list, but just prioritizing has been huge for me, because it's easy for me now to say that can wait, you know.
Right.
And I think it's important.
That was one of my questions. Is no a big part of your everyday process? The word no.
Yeah, I love no. Yeah, I have to say no. I feel like I can't, you know, and I always say, they always say you can't give from an empty cup, or
Mhm.
can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Right.
As a mom, you can. There are days I swear I am like depleted. I have zero left, and somehow there are still like drops somewhere to give, right? And so, but those days, they spill over. And so I know, like, okay, I would love to do that, or I would, you know, love to get this done, but now is not the time. And my kids, like, they sitting in the bed watching TV and just like being in my space, I've learned that that's also enough. Like, my quality time is enough for them. And even though in my mind I want to go to the pool and I want to go take them here and there and all these cool things, it's like they don't really care or even know the difference. They just want to be near.
Right.
Um, knowing that helps to kind of balance it out a little bit too.
Are you full time?
Yeah, so I currently, like,
Yeah.
I actually have a company that I work for, and since I've come back, I've been scared to step away, because obviously there's, you know, that doubt of it not working out fully. But so right now I'm splitting my time. I work full time, I have my company full time, and I'm a mom.
Wow, that is a lot. A lot. Kudos to you, because you're like running a six-figure company, like
Yes.
a crown. You deserve a crown with glitter on it.
Thank you. That is, yeah, it's a lot, but it feels good.
When you stepped away the first time, or just the only time, did you ever consider somebody might steal my idea? Like, was that ever a concern of yours? Because your design is pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had people steal my idea. It's funny, because like this one particular case, it was a picture actually, and it went almost viral on Pinterest.
Mhm.
And I've had people like sneakily ask me, like, as a customer, like, hey, I'm really allergic to this type of, you know, whatever, what materials are used in the making of your product, things like that. They would ask me questions that I clearly know they're trying to understand how I make the product and how I use a sealant.
Mm.
This was when I was hand making them. And so I knew, you know, and I've also had people who have purchased from me before and then gone on to start, you know, very similar businesses. And so, yeah, I mean, but I get it, you know, it's a cool product. They're great and they sold, and they, you know, if someone's going to steal the idea, then hats off to them. But, you know, again, that's another lesson I've learned, to just stay in my own lane and not focus on what everyone else is doing, because I don't know their story. And
Right.
frankly, it's none of my business.
I love that. And I love your product. You know, when I went in and watched the reviews, like that is like bomb that you have live reviews, by the way. So the thing that sets you aside from even the Apple and all of the other products that's out there is you have a twofold product, especially for your computer cases and Mac cases, where some of them just have the top covers. Yours has a bottom cover. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, how did you think of that?
It's just personal use, you know. I'm like, what do I want? And that's what I try to make for other people. I know that I would want it in a certain way, and we just, you know, do that same thing for other people. That's how it started. And I think that that's how I'll probably always continue. I'll make for me first, or my idea of what I love, and then share it with our customers.
When you made your Mac covers and your laptop covers, you have a variety. So how did you get the measurements that they fit perfectly?
Gosh, yeah, yeah. So Apple has like a standard process for how they do all of their MacBooks. And
Mhm.
so there's a bunch of different sizes. There's actually 8 currently that are like still sold on the market. But they are standard. So as long as you can buy a MacBook if it's a 13-inch Pro, for instance, our 13-inch Pros will fit your MacBook. And that's the reason why actually we don't do any other computer outside of MacBook, because there are so many variations that we
Right.
would just get, you know, buried in the like inventory. Um, and so, yeah, we streamline it because, you know, Apple's a pretty popular model of computer or
Mhm.
laptop, and we can streamline the inventory just based on the fact that they have those standard sizes.
That's awesome. So another question about your lessons learned. What would be the top lesson that you learned within the pandemic?
Within the pandemic, I think get to know yourself. I think that so often we are, and I obviously can't speak for everyone, but just the way it seems being on social media, it's like you have to show up as a certain way. Like as a mom, I always say that we like assume roles, right? As we go through life, we assume a role as a mom, or we assume a role as a partner, you know, in a relationship, or we assume a role as an employee or whatever it is. And you just like take it on without ever really realizing or taking the time to sit with what that means to show up in that space.
Mhm.
And so I think that taking a step back and figuring out, do I want to be in this space? And how do I want to operate in this space? And what makes me happiest in this space? And then, you know, like peeling back the layers a bit so that you can understand every day that you've chosen to show up, you know, as a mom this way, or as an employee this way, or as a CEO this way. So I think taking the time to self-reflect, I think, has been huge for me during this pandemic, both for personally and the way that I operate in my business.
And business boomed for you during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we thought that we were gonna, you know, everyone was gonna be holding on to their coins and no one was going to be shopping. But we like, since we launched in August of 2019, since we relaunched, March, which was the month that everything really just kind of fell, you know, the world seemed like it fell apart. That was our best month since relaunching. And so it's crazy that that would be the case. And so that, again, it like fueled my fire to just like, okay, keep going and build that momentum and keep, you know, growing. So, and we just haven't stopped.
You've been featured in so many magazines and online publications, especially like Fashion Bomb Daily. Like, did you get overwhelmed just from being in the spotlight?
No, I don't think that, it's funny because I don't think that we've actually been featured that often. I mean, Fashion Bomb Daily was really cool,
Mhm,
and we love it. And I love anytime that there's recognition, obviously, because it's validating.
mhm.
But I don't think that overwhelms me by any means. I think that you mean like our sales or me personally,
Yeah,
or
your
like what do you?
sales, like, because that's going to drive more people to your page. That's going to add more commotion every time your name is out there as just, one of those starlit people.
The
So,
cool the cool thing about the way that our like back end is set up is we can produce product really quickly. So even when we have, moments of press or like cool things happen that really spike sales, we can get that inventory to support that sale very fast. And so that's it's a blessing that we are set up that way, because I don't really have to miss out, on things because we can pull it together.
okay. And this is my last question. So you're safe. Yay. Um, the accessories that you have on your site now is solely for which products?
Currently just MacBook.
Okay.
And all the sizes. So there are a few sizes that we no longer sell just because most people no longer have them,
Mhm.
but just MacBook. And we do have sleeves that you can put any computer inside of. It's just like a zipper sleeve, so you can use it for really any MacBook. And some people even use it for like documents or journals, or just as like a little pouch to carry with them.
Mhm.
But for the most part, MacBook.
And where can people find? I know where they can find them, but where can they find your wonderful product and follow you on social media?
Yeah, so you can shop at our website. It's just www.embrishop.com. And on Instagram and pretty much everywhere else, we are Embri Shop, and Embri is EMBRISHOP.
Okay. And then here's my last question. I'm serious this time. What next for you?
Just continuing to grow the business. I think that eventually, I do want to quit my full-time job and move on to do this full-time again. If that is, it obviously would need to support, I would need to replace my income fully and more to really step away. So that would be the goal. That's currently the goal. I'm not trying to look too far ahead. We just want to focus on that, continuing to grow our community and offer, new products to our community that we already have, and just continue to grow.